Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Create.Learn.Implement, aka C-Led Podcast. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. The weather is starting to change, and so I hope you guys cozy up to this new episode with CEO of Malcolm's Choice founder, Jodi-Ann Campbell. She is a local girl, which I really enjoy our conversation, and I hope you guys will enjoy it as well on the other side. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions like, how do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple: Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. So when I thought about starting a podcast, I had no idea how it worked. I don't know how I came across Anchor, but I did, and it was free and it was 100% easy to use. And I love to use it to connect to my audience. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Over the last few years, I've really been diving deep into finances, money, and manifesting money. And I must say that I have managed to accomplish a lot of things within my finances, and that's wealth inside and outside of my business. So I've noticed that one great starting block is developing a great routine. And so that's why I've created the Success Routine Challenge, which is a 5-day challenge designed to help you create a routine to activate a life of abundance. Link will be in the show notes. It will be on September 19th at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So hit the link in the show notes to sign up. See you then.
The chipping in and out. I don't know, just test.
You're good. Zoom has been pretty testy. I had to reschedule one of my recordings yesterday. So,
Okay.
all right, Jodi-Ann Campbell, Miss Jodi-Ann Campbell, I'm so happy to have you on. You've been super busy. I think this time of the year is like a busy time. So I'm super happy that you're here. For my peoples, if you don't know who Jodi-Ann Campbell is, she's the CEO of Malcolm's Choice. And I'll have her explain a little bit more about who she is in her own words. So Jodi-Ann Campbell, can you do that for me, please?
I absolutely can. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Jodi-Ann Campbell. I am the founder of Malcolm's Choice. And what Malcolm's Choice is, we are a marketing and advertising company, as well as a social enterprise. And we're dedicated to connecting customers with the best Black-owned businesses across Canada, and primarily here in the Greater Toronto area where I live. We do that through our Black-owned business directory. Our directory is housed on our website at www.malcolmschoice.ca. Once you go to our website, we're trying to make it easy for everyone to find anything that they need Black-owned. So we don't only focus on product-based businesses, but we also feature and showcase service-based businesses as well. And just recently, last year, we have acquired a studio space in downtown Brampton, and it's an extension of our community that we have online. It's a place, a safe community, inclusive space where people can come to do their branding shoots, product shoots. If they have podcasts like yourself and they want to shoot somewhere, then they can do it here, as well as YouTube's workshops, webinars, small events, you name it. So it's a very multifunctional space.
I love
so
that.
I think Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Thank you.
You're welcome. I did see that and I was like, oh, that's a nice studio. I love that the Canadian, business
Mhm.
owners are getting into that rental space. Because
Right.
I don't exactly know how that works, but I imagine it's a little tricky. It seems much easier in the States, would you say?
So listen, I've never had a rental studio space before, so it's my first experience, and there has been a bit of a learning curve and learning experience.
Yeah.
But what I found when I started the space here in Brampton is there weren't too many places for the clients that I was looking to serve to do some product shoots, branding shoots, different things of that nature. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the reason that I decided to get into it. And then more than that, there weren't really a lot of Black-owned places that were like this. So definitely a new space to be in, but really, really excited and looking forward to doing a lot more great things.
Awesome. So take me back a little bit. Take me back to a young, by young, I mean like teenage Jodi-Ann Campbell. What was she like? Because people think that, business owners have silver spoons in their mouths. Like it's not everybody. So take us back a little bit and what led
Yeah,
you up to this point.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, definitely no silver spoon for me. Um, going back to my youth and my childhood, I grew up in the Jane and Finch area, and if you're familiar with the Greater Toronto area, a lot of people they kind of look at that area like it's the quote unquote hood or whatnot. But I
Yeah.
had a very enriching childhood there. I had a lot of social activities, the community centers and different things that I could be a part of. So really a great experience for me overall. Yeah, growing up in Toronto in that area, I was really just a young woman trying to trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life at a young teenage age.
Yeah.
Um, I would say I would say that one thing that I did like, I loved school, I love to learn. And this is kind of just an extension of me loving to learn, me loving to learn more about other people, learn more
Mhm.
about the community around me, and find ways that I can contribute as an individual to, yeah, the community.
Absolutely. Do you remember the specific moment that birthed Malcolm's choice?
I absolutely do. It was a little bit past the teenage years. It was back in 2015 when I was looking to buy a house. And, as a young woman, as we just reflect back on that last question, as a young woman, I used to always be that person. I had an uncle. He used to say every time you see me, Jody, tell us what's going on with the Black community. Because I was always
Yeah.
I was always that person. Like, we need to do this, we need to do this. And different things of that nature. So he's just like, what's going on with the Black community? So some influential books that kind of inspired me to think the way that I think. One that really stands out in my mind is The Miseducation of a Negro. And if you haven't read it yet, I would say definitely go read it. Right? We
Mhm.
all know about the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, but we got to know
Yeah.
about the miseducation of a Negro as well,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so back in 2015, I was going to buy a house, and I decided I'm going to buy a house Black. And what that meant to me is that I was going to use all Black professionals as I was going through the home buying process.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was kind of easy. It was easy for me to find a Black mortgage agent. It was okay for me to find a Black real estate agent. But when it came time for me to locate a home inspector, nobody in my immediate circle knew one. So, like any good old person in 2015, I went to Google and I went to Black home inspector in the search bar.
Yeah.
And at that time, unfortunately, it didn't bring up the types of results that I was looking for. In fact, it wasn't bringing up Black people, but just rather companies with the name Black in the name, or et cetera, things like that.
Right.
So, yeah, what I thought at that moment is it has to be easier for people like me who want to be intentional with where we're spending our money and want to support business owners and businesses with people that look like us. It
Mhm.
has to be an easier way for us to locate them. So that is actually when the idea of Malcolm's Choice came about. And yeah, that was the birth of Malcolm's Choice.
Perfect. I love that. Now,
Awesome.
when you were going through your process, did you receive any pushback? And how do you think this has changed how we view Black businesses?
Okay, yeah. When I was going through the process of starting the business, so I don't come from an entrepreneurial background. Nobody in my
Mhm.
family is really an entrepreneur, so it's not something that I was able to look outside of myself for. So there was a rather large learning curve, I say, in the journey of the entrepreneurship. So
Yeah.
I just told you this story. It was 2015 when the idea came to me, but I didn't register it as a business until 2019.
Yeah.
So definitely, it took me some time to gain the confidence and the footing and the understanding of really what it meant to have this as a business and turn it into something much more than just a passion project or, a hobby or anything like that, right?
Mhm.
So what I did in my learning, in that learning curve, that learning process, is I tapped into a lot of the incubators, the accelerators, the resources that the city of Brampton was offering, as well as other organizations around the city. But this particular experience happened at the city of Brampton. It was the Starter Plus program or something like that. They help you start your entrepreneurial journey and teach you all about business.
Yeah.
And so I told them what I wanted to do, and I kind of showed them what I had already and everything like that. And I remember a specific moment when a gentleman, he looked at everything that I had, and I told him what I wanted. He's like, this is not going to work. He said, this is
Oh,
not going to work.
yeah.
He said, that in order for you to make this like legitimate business that is sustainable and everything like that, you're going to have to increase the traffic that you're having coming to the website and build a community around you. And, he gave me some tips on what I would need to do. But at that time, I wasn't ready to receive their grant. So I think that was kind of a moment of pushback where, I hesitated after that to really continue. After they said, this is never going to work, I really took a moment. Actually, it took a few months and I didn't do
Mhm.
anything. I got really stagnant for a little bit,
Yeah.
and just, really decided whether or not this was something that I wanted to go after, if it was the right journey for me. And, ultimately, obviously, I did decide to continue, but it did kind of discourage me a bit.
Yeah, I mean, with anything, I feel like there'll be a little bit of pushback.
Mhm.
Now that you're in it, you're living it, you're the embodiment of your dream. How do you think you've changed how this platform, Malcolm's Choice, views Black businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I started out doing this, it wasn't as common. It wasn't as well, I'm not gonna
No, I
say
think
trend.
you're right. Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say trendy, but it wasn't as prevalent to
Yeah.
be supporting Black businesses and be very specific to say, I'm gonna be supporting Black businesses only. During the progression of this business, what I've found is that there is a community of people out there that are just like me, who are intentional and do want to support Black businesses first. So the first thing I think that living this dream and embodying this, I've found like-minded community people and like-minded just thinkers, people that are like me, and people to be around. So I think that has been a great positive thing. On top of that, I've also seen a huge progression in the amount of Black businesses, the awareness of the people that are around the city around me. So meeting a whole bunch of new faces, new businesses, and also I think a lot of people over the last couple of years have been inspired to start their own businesses based on what we're able to see that's happening out there. Because as they say, you have to see it to be it. And we're
Mhm.
seeing a lot more Black entrepreneurs now because it's been more prominent in the media and in the facets that we use, like Instagram, everything like that. So I
Mhm.
am seeing an increase in the amount of Black businesses that are around, and that makes me really happy.
Awesome. So it's doing what it's supposed to do.
It's doing, yes, it's giving what it's supposed to give. That's right. I love it.
Exactly. Now, this space is impacting Black businesses in Toronto specifically.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, is it a national like platform, or is it just specific to Toronto?
So it is a national platform. It is a national platform, and we definitely want to expand out to other major city hubs and things like that around across Canada, right across Canada, like
Mhm.
Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary, Halifax, different places where Black entrepreneurship and Black businesses are prominent, but maybe not as seen as they need to be seen. So
Right.
it is a national platform. However, right now, I would say bulk of the businesses that we promote, and the bulk of the businesses that are listed on our website are located in the Greater Toronto area, right across, I guess they call this the Golden Horseshoe. So we've got businesses from Niagara, Windsor region, all the way across to Peterborough, Cambridge, different places like that. So definitely Greater Toronto area, Southern Ontario prominent right now, but we're looking to make sure that we are representing businesses, Black-owned businesses right across Canada.
Perfect. Perfect. Now, you've opened up the doors for other people by starting this platform. What opportunities has this opened up for you, though?
I think the opportunities that it's opened up for me is to be more involved in what's happening in the community, and being able to kind of see the impact of what, my vision might have been, but how it can affect the community around me and the people around me. So I lost the question. Tell me again.
No, I was asking you what opportunities this platform has opened up for you. I mean, you started the platform. You now have an event space. I saw that you also have, I don't know, something television coming.
Oh, yes.
So come on, girl, it's done some things.
It definitely has done some things. So lots more opportunities. I think now I want to move, kind of raise my own confidence, just me personally, for the professional development and the personal development. I've seen that a whole bunch. Before, I never used to want to even be on camera, period. If you scroll back to like the beginning days of my Instagram, I never showed myself. In fact, everybody thought Malcolm was a boy. They're like, hey, sir, everything like that. So I think that it's really helped me to boost my own personal confidence, my personal brand, and being able to get involved in things like this event space that I've started here is something that, the community really has shown me that they stand behind and they want to support, as well as opening up opportunities. Yes, I'm going to be involved in a TV show called Caribbean Wives of Toronto.
There you go.
So we're doing some filming there. I've gotten, a few opportunities to be a panelist at a number of events, or even just arriving at the event and feeling the energy in the room and meeting a lot of the supporters that are your online supporters, your online friends. But again, getting the opportunity to meet those people in real life and create lasting friendships with these like-minded people that are around. So I am definitely enjoying the journey.
Okay, and as you should.
Right.
Now, do you think the Black community really believes in community over competition, or do you think we still have some miles to go here?
I personally think that there is some work to be done still, but we
Agreed.
have come a long way. We have come a long way. So over the last 2 years, I have seen more people coming together, collaborating, working together in order to bring their dreams and their visions to fruition. A lot of things, sometimes it's conferences, sometimes it's pop-up markets. And I've seen some really, really great things happen when we are able to come together and push forward. Still there is kind of those underlying things, maybe that we think that if one person has the idea, that one person has to execute it.
Right.
So we have still kind of held on to these individualistic ideas, but I think we really want to remember that, your business is kind of like your baby, right? And it still takes a village to raise a child. And I think we want to just remember that whatever your strengths are, that you also have weaknesses, and your weaknesses may be another person's strengths. So if we're able to lean on each other and lean on our strengths and compensate or supplement the things that we are not so strong with other people in the community, I think that we can go a lot further. And I think we're starting to see that, and I'm starting to see a lot more collaboration, and I'm excited to see what the next couple of years is going to bring for our community here in Southern Ontario, as well as right across Canada.
Perfect. That's a good segue into my next question, which is, how do we foster a more collaborative environment, and where we can pass opportunities onto each other? I find that, from my personal experience, I think I guess it's just life where everyone exists in groups and cliques, and it's just hard. It seems to be difficult for someone to stretch their hand to someone else and say, hey, I see what you're doing, come on over. because I feel like that's my personality, but not everyone's the same. So how do we foster a more collaborative environment?
Yeah, and I feel like you, I'm like that too. I'm such a sharer and I
Yeah,
wanting to
yeah,
like do things together.
yeah,
And but I do know exactly what you mean when you say there's these silos or these little cliques that exist. And if you're not in this cool club, then we're
yeah,
not going to
yeah,
invite you. We're not
yeah.
going to invite you, or when you get here, we're going to make you feel alienated or stuff. And I've had
Right.
experiences like that. But I think as long as people like you and I are here and we strive to, as we strive to just, even those people that may not seem like they're immediately receptive, I think it's a learning process and somebody has to be that example to
Right.
follow, right? So
Yeah.
as long as, you find like-minded people, or you or I find like-minded people, and we show what it is like or what can happen when we start to work together,
Yeah.
it's like monkey see, monkey do, right? Once they see one great collaboration and see people doing things together and striving and still being happy
Yeah.
in the community, not competition, I think that we'll create that environment and we'll create a culture of collaborativeness, and it will expand like that.
Perfect. With fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, exactly.
Fingers crossed. Now, what more can we do as entrepreneurs to shake up the business landscape in Canada?
Yeah, I think honestly, we need to really hone in and tap into Black-owned media, or
Mm.
yeah, really understand the power and influence of the media and figure out ways that we can use our own resources and our own existing platforms
Mhm.
um, to boost what's happening with our businesses and spread the awareness. I'm finding that there are a lot of hidden gems, even hidden gems in my own city that I haven't seen, that are Black businesses, right? So
Mhm.
it's all about that marketing piece, as well as what I always think is that the people that are listed in the directory, whatever their respective business is and that field, they are the experts in that field. And
Mhm.
what I want to do is be able to get each business or each person who has that specific expertise to bring us together, and we can share our own expertise with the community, because we have specialized knowledge that maybe somebody else might not know, but as long as we're sharing the information, I think that will help to bring us to a better state and a better place.
I like what you're thinking. I like that Black-owned media.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and if you haven't heard yet, one of our partners, they're called Black Business Live TV, BBL TV, and they have screens that are right across the Greater Toronto area. We've got some ads on them, and we're helping business owners to get involved in their platform. They've gone on to Roku TV, so they've got their own channel on Roku TV. So we're looking to really amplify businesses with commercials, and even Malcolm's Choice now has gotten into producing commercials for small Black-owned businesses as well.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what have you learned about yourself as a woman and as a business owner, just seeing, yourself evolve over the years?
Yeah. What I've learned about myself, that's a good question. I think that I'm really passionate, and my passion and the things that, I'm excited about, there are more people that are excited too. And I think that a lot of times when I come into a room, I come into a place, that excitement and that passion, it does show and it does rub off and it does allow people to gravitate towards Malcolm's Choice and what we're aiming to do here, because I think that it is really, really a community. It's a community project. It's not just me, but it's all of us coming together.
Mhm.
But what I learned about me, most of the things I've learned is just about my strengths and my weaknesses. I know now on how to focus on the things that I'm good at. And I know that I need to lean on the support of other people around me for the things that I'm not as good at. For example, I might be good at, laughing, smiling, making friends and networking and things like that, but I'm
Yeah.
not as strong as at planning things. So when I'm planning something, I know, listen, Jodi, don't try to do this all by yourself. Lean on, tap into the people around you that their strength is planning, their strength is structuring things, because I am such like I'm one of those people with their heads in the clouds, daydreaming all day, thinking of new ideas, and a new idea will come to me like once a day, and I'm like, oh my God, I should do this, but I just want to.
Are we the same people, Jodi? Are we the same people?
Honestly,
I want to know, because I'm filled with ideas. Go ahead.
The idea stuff, it just comes to me, but when it comes time to execute the idea, I mean, the real thing is in the execution, right? I know that I need to lean on my partners, lean on my friends, my business people that have become friends, and then bounce these ideas off of them and let them help me to execute the plan, because I think it's all about that execution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're so right. As a mother, what is the legacy that you want to leave?
Yeah. Listen, this is, I mean, really, it's all about that, right? It's about the legacy, and it's about what we're teaching our young people. And, the name Malcolm's Choice, it comes from Malcolm X. And I think, when I think of Malcolm X, I always think of us building self-sustainable communities, as well as us being able to educate and employ our young people, right? And so the legacy right now that I'm looking to build for my family and for my son is to let him be able to see that anybody can make a change once you put your mind towards something and you take action, right? So right now I tell my son, his name is Isaac, I tell him that he's the president of Malcolm's Choice, and he acts as the president of Malcolm's Choice. Like, the president says this, or whatnot, but really just to instill those values of entrepreneurship, of ownership, of him being able to achieve anything, and him having an example to look to, because representation matters, and you got to see it to be it. So showing him that we can do what we want and just go for it.
He must be so proud of his mom.
Oh, thank you. I'm more proud of him because he's a good president. He's always coming to the studio and he's like, listen, I said, take this, move this over here because the president says this and the president says that. So it's fun like that. And I love it.
I love that. How do you feel about introducing your son to entrepreneurship at such a young age?
I think it's important. It's important because I think, the school system, or, as we go through life and what we are taught and what we are said that like we should be doing, I don't think they direct us towards a path of ownership or a path of entrepreneurship. It's more a path on become a good employee, get to work on time, and do your work, and you get a high paying job once you go to university or whatnot. It's all about that. However, I think, real power comes from ownership, right? So not only ownership of a business, but ownership of land, ownership of properties, ownership of your intellectual property. So I think those are the things that introducing my son to entrepreneurship at such a young age, because he's just 6. I think these are the values that it's going to instill in him from a young age. And perhaps as he's going through the educational system and going through what society is trying to mold him into, he will be able to have leadership qualities and not be so easily swayed, and understand what his values are and what is important to him.
Perfect. I love that.
Okay.
It's important because when they see you doing, what you're doing, they understand that there can be a different world for them as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, we were in school doing, getting our education. How did that influence you to become an entrepreneur, or where does school fit in terms of entrepreneurship?
So for me, listen, I did 1 year and I took political science because at some point I probably will get into some politics, hopefully. Later, I took politics because I like politics and all of that, but I only did the 1 year. And the reason that I could only do the 1 year is because I started to face like financial stuff. Like, I'm like, listen, I can't go to school. I have to work and pay bills. Like, it was kind of a choice. And, I don't want Yeah, it was definitely a choice. So I think school does fit in, but in my journey, in my specific journey, the way that school fit into my entrepreneurship journey was like just knowing that because of not having maybe a foundation and a foundation like a financial base, a foundation like that. So that I guess that comes into financial literacy and all of those different aspects that you learn on the entrepreneurial journey. I think those are the things that kind of pushed me towards entrepreneurship, if any. I don't know, but school is important too. I mean, I just didn't do it. I just didn't do it.
You know what, life happens, and
Yes.
you know, life gets in the way, but I do see that you could be you know, good in the political world as well.
Yeah, give me
So,
a few more years, and once I hit 40, I think that's where I'll shift my focus.
okay, well, so you heard it here first.
I
So,
love it.
right, you heard it here first. We got the exclusive, right?
Yes, and I'm practicing my political chops by associating with the black. There are a few black politicians here in the Brampton South area, so I'm definitely watching the ladies as they're like I have to see it to be it too. So I'm seeing a few people that are in my immediate circle, and they're black and everything like that, and they're getting into politics. So
Mhm.
I'm making sure I'm looking at their example and seeing what to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I
Yeah.
imagine that, you know, this is a business space that is it's very busy for you. You know, you're all over the place. You have different
Mhm.
projects going on. How
Mhm.
do you wind down? How do you stay grounded?
Um, yeah, I just try to ensure that I am setting boundaries. So this is something that's new for me because yeah,
Yeah.
I'm one to kind of go, and I did that all last year in different things. But a new thing that I'm adopting is setting boundaries. Like for instance, I'm trying to no longer take business calls after 6 p.m. so I can be
Yep.
intentional about spending time with my son and spending time with my family and being present.
Yes.
Um, being present at my house
Yeah.
because as a mompreneur, or an entrepreneur, you have that never ending to-do list. So I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. But I think, just being intentional about setting boundaries and understanding, and this is something that I'm still learning, understanding what makes you happy and what kind of takes you out of the stress zone and into the more relaxed zone. So everybody's talking a lot about self-care, and I'm really starting to figure out and understand, what it is that makes me happy and what it is I can do to not feel as stressed and overwhelmed when things get overwhelming. So yeah, I like music and I like dancing, so I make sure that I incorporate those and remember to schedule time and days off as well.
Absolutely. As you should. As you should.
Yeah, because they can't work you 7 days at a job if you're going to a job. So don't work yourself 7 days in your business because hey, you'll get burnt out, and burnout is not a good thing, right? So
That is easier said than done. But I agree.
believe me, I know. Believe me. See, I said this is a new thing. I just started this year, so
That's funny.
I'm still creating the habits and creating those routines to make sure that I'm also remembering to take care of myself. I read something and it said, treat yourself like somebody you're responsible for taking care of. And I'm like, dude, I thought to myself at that time, like, the way that you're responsible for taking care of your kid. So you make sure your kid eats, you make sure they take a shower and all of that
Yeah.
different stuff. I got to do that for myself too, because
Yeah.
sometimes I'm not eating. So yeah, I love it. That's what I'm doing now.
What do you say to the Black girl that's looking at you as the example? She wants to perhaps own her own space, or, you know, emulate you in some way. What do you say to her?
I would say just don't be scared. Don't be scared. Go for it. And whatever your mind might be telling you, because that self-talk is so important. So making sure that you are being nice to yourself, and that you remember that it's a process and nothing is going to happen overnight. So be consistent and be gentle with yourself are the two things that I would say to a young lady looking at me.
Perfect. Now, Miss Campbell, if we were looking for you, where could we find you? Tell us where we could reach you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, firstly, you can connect with me at Malcolm's Choice. So we're at Malcolm's Choice in all our social media. We're on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We're also on LinkedIn, and we have recently launched a YouTube page where we're going to be sharing some of the video and the footage of the things that we have happening this summer. So at Malcolm's Choice, you can also find us on our website at www.malcolmschoice.ca. You can call me directly if you want at 647-975-4454. And I love to give referrals of Black businesses because I know a lot of great Black owned businesses, and I would love to share those with you all.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure we'll be doing something in the future.
Absolutely. Well, it has been my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you on the show and the podcast today. And I had a great time. So thank you.
You're more than welcome. You take care, Jodi.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in to another great episode. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, as all these things help to keep the podcast alive. Take care. Until next time.